Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Cereal Review, the show where I review cereal for you. And sorry about last week, no video, but I promise there's gonna be a big one. This time we got Fruity Pebbles. So this is a real heavy hitter here. Lots of people love their Fruity Pebbles, the Cocoa Pebbles too. We'll get to that eventually, but right now it's Fruity Pebbles. As you may know, this is one of the few cereals that doesn't go with a mascot unique to it, but instead they use the Flintstones for it. They always show them in the commercials too. It's probably one of the only times the Flintstones gets used nowadays, actually, is in commercials for it. But yeah, you got Fruity Pebbles, you got Cocoa Pebbles, and occasionally they have some themed ones where they do the normal thing. They'll change some colors, throw something in there. There's a Halloween one recently, I think, that made them orange and purple, the Halloween colors, I guess, and added some. I think it had some marshmallows in it. But yeah, standardly, just got Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. So, what is it exactly? It's rice cereal, much like Rice Krispies, but instead of being little, sorry there, it's very similar to Rice Krispies, but it's fruit flavored for Fruity Pebbles and chocolate flavored for Cocoa Pebbles. Rice Krispies does have Cocoa Krispies, but the normal one is just standard rice cereal. Unfortunately, I will say, much like Frosted Flakes, I might have mentioned this before, I'm not the biggest fan of Frosted Flakes. And one of the reasons is those are cornflakes, but they're still very thin, and they soak up the milk very fast, and it just takes so little time for it to get soggy. It's very unpleasant. I do not like the texture of it once it gets very soggy. And unfortunately, for the Pebbles cereals, I find that those are the same. So I'll talk about that once we get to that point of the review here. But the boxes, they have to be eye-catching. Cereal boxes need to have that factor to them, so you look at them and you walk by and you're like, yeah, I want that. So they got a big red box. It helps if it's nice bright color. And you got fruity with the good colors of all the pebbles. The Cocoa Pebbles one is brown, I believe, and then you got Fred and Barney there. They're the ones that are always on the front. Usually, they're the ones that are usually in the commercials. Fred's eating his pebbles, and then Barney tries to kind of steal them, like the Tricks Rabbit, I guess. It's usually how it works, but. Yeah, I only ever find these in small boxes. I don't know if they make the big family size boxes of these. If you have, please let me know. I've never seen any family size boxes. It's normally just the small ones like this, the standard size ones. But anyways, without further ado, let's pour some out. Give it a try here. There's a little bit right there. So dry first, as always. We'll eat some dry. Now, I will say this isn't ever a cereal I've ever really considered eating by itself like this. I've said before, some people might find it strange to eat it dry, but I quite like it sometimes. Some are quite good to snack on like that. But they're so small, I've never really thought of it that way. So, they taste good. They're easy to pick up. Eat a bunch of them at once. They got the taste to it. They have a nice fruity flavor to it. Lots of sugar, but yeah, most cereals do. So I wouldn't say that these are great dry just because of how small they are, but it does taste good, so there's that at least. But let's do it how most people eat it. Let's add a little bit of milk here. Okay. So now I'm gonna have to eat some of this fast because this is gonna get soggy very quickly. So we're not gonna have to take too long to get to that point to get them a bit soaked. They're pretty good. What it reminds me of the most every time I've had these is it kind of tastes a little bit like if you had Fruit Loops and mixed them with Rice Krispies. And I say that because this is rice cereal and not, corn or whatever else it may be. rice cereal has that very distinct texture to it, usually, especially when they make it very thin like this. So it tastes a lot like Rice Krispies when you're eating it, but in this case with the fruit flavor, so it really ends up tasting a lot like Fruit Loops. If you've had Fruit Loops before, they're very distinct. I know there's a whole thing about all the Fruit Loops taste the same. You just think they taste different because they're colored differently. But anyways, Fruit Loops taste pretty good. So basically, you're just getting Rice Krispies and Fruit Loops. So Fruit Loops flavored Rice Krispies. So you might not like that if you don't like Fruit Loops. If you've never had Fruity Pebbles before and you don't like Fruit Loops, you probably won't like Fruity Pebbles, just so you know. Now, what I will say is kind of unfortunate about Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles is that this is one of those cereals where the flavor mixes in with the milk because a bunch of sugar is on it. So as that sugar mixes together with it, it kind of enhances the flavor where everything you're getting in your spoonful with all the milk too is packed with flavor. So it tastes a lot better, but man, because it just gets soggy so fast because it's thin rice cereal. So most of this is already completely soggy, but it tastes so much better this way. So you have a very short time window to eat this stuff before it gets to that point, but then you're not getting all of that extra flavor all mixed together. Ugh. I think that's the big downside of this cereal. The same thing with Cocoa Pebbles. They're the same way. The only difference there is that because those are chocolate, the milk turns into, a little brownish color. It gets a chocolate taste to it, like Cocoa Puffs does that too. But man, that is a bit unfortunate. I definitely have to say that is not a bad point, but it's definitely a little bit of a disadvantage that this cereal has over some others. So do keep that in mind. If you don't like cereal that gets soggy very fast, you just don't like soggy cereal, I just stay away from rice cereals like this. If you don't mind that much, you like Fruit Loops, and you really like a big full flavor when you have it with the milk, this is very good. So now some of this at the bottom here especially it's already soaked. Let's go and try that, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Yeah, as I said, you get a much fuller flavor, though because the stuff has gotten very soggy, it loses all of its crunch. You're basically like chewing the cereal almost, instead of breaking it up and then eating it, which a lot of heartier cereals you'd have to do that. Something like shredded wheat, that stuff gets really tough, and that's if you really have to break apart. This stuff, you're like kind of chewing it almost. I know that doesn't sound very appealing, but when it gets that soggy, you don't even break it apart really. The best way I can describe it is kind of like oatmeal in a sense, where you're not breaking it up really, but that's a good comparison. I'd say it's kind of similar to oatmeal in that sense. So, as I said, you like Fruit Loops, you like this. It has a very similar flavor. I wonder if they use the same sort of artificial or maybe it's natural fruit flavors in it. That wouldn't surprise me at all, actually, even though they're made by different companies. This Post makes the Pebble cereals. It says real sugar on here. It says natural and artificial flavors. So I imagine if I looked at Fruit Loops and it said the same thing, I would not be surprised if they're the same. Cocoa Puffs, also, I'll get to that someday, like I said. That chocolate flavor is also kind of similar to Cocoa Puffs. So again, I wouldn't be surprised there if they're using the same thing. Maybe they get it from the same place. Who knows? But yeah, so that's what I have to say about this. If you like Fruit Loops, you'll like this. If you don't really like soggy cereal, maybe skip it. Overall, it's pretty good. It's not my favorite cereal, but if I ever get Fruity Pebbles, I enjoy it a lot. You go through it really fast though, because like I said, you only get in the standard side boxes as far as I'm aware. And it's so small that even if you pour a huge bowl of it, it's not very filling. And if you go to get more, you just run through this stuff like that's nothing. So also keep that in mind. Maybe buy the generic stuff in that case. You can get them in like big bags. They're way bigger than these boxes. So maybe that's the way to go. So anyways, if you like Fruity Pebbles, leave a like. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time on the Cereal Review. Thank you.